So this is why you don't conduct international affairs and international monetary policy via social media when you have no clue what you're talking about. Donald Trump just picked a fight with something referred to as the BRICS Bloc. When you break down what that acronym is, the R in BRICS is Russia, which is the one basically coordinating this economic bloc. So while Donald Trump is currying favor with Vladimir Putin and saying that he's going to help Putin and undermine the sanctions against Putin by attacking the BRICS bloc and saying that you're going to tariff the BRICS bloc but not going after Russia, what you're saying just makes absolutely no sense at all. Here's what Donald Trump posted on social media. He goes, "The idea that the BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar while we stand by and watch is over. We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty US dollar, or they will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful US economy. They can go find another sucker. There is no chance that the BRICS will replace the US dollar in international trade, and any country that tries should wave goodbye to America." Look, the first people you invited to the White House during your first term were the Russian ambassadors, Sergei Kislyak and Sergei Lavrov, but also part of the BRICS bloc is India. So now you're just going to impose what 100% tariffs? And again, you don't know what tariffs are. You are taxing American corporations and American corporations importing stuff from India, from Brazil, and from other places where American companies import stuff. And it's just going to result in retaliatory tariffs. Here, just again, take a look right here when you break down what BRICS is, in case anyone's wondering what this 100% tariff that Trump's threatening. BRICS is an intergovernmental organization comprising 9 countries: Brazil, Russia, there are already international sanctions on, so they can't access our market. Okay, so they have no access to it under the current sanctions. India, China, South Africa, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the United Arab Emirates. By the way, the UAE is one of the biggest funders of Jared Kushner's fund. Them and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and others. It says BRICS was originally identified to highlight investment opportunities. The grouping evolved into a geopolitical bloc, with their governments meeting annually at formal summits and coordinating multilateral policy since 2009. Relations among BRICS are conducted mainly based on non-interference, equality, and mutual benefit. It says, not like a formal bloc per se, in terms of like implementing unified policy, but it basically is. Here's what the Associated Press writes. This is from last month. Putin hosts Global South leaders at BRICS summit meant to counterbalance Western clout. So while Donald Trump brags about his relationship with Putin, Putin's the one in charge, basically, of putting the BRICS bloc together. And it talks about how China's Xi Jinping, India's Modi, and other world leaders, and by the way, Trump and Modi are friends, and other world leaders arrived Tuesday in the Russian city of Kazan for a summit of the BRICS bloc of developing economies that the Kremlin hopes to turn into a rallying point for defying Western influence in global affairs. I mean, quite literally, the whole point is a Putin-engineered project to undermine American foreign policy. But Donald Trump's currying favor to Putin, but saying he's going to sanction BRICS countries. For Russian Vladimir Putin, the 3-day meeting also offers a powerful way to demonstrate the failure of U.S.-led efforts to isolate Russia over its actions in Ukraine. Kremlin Foreign Affairs advisor called it the largest foreign policy event ever held by Russia, with 36 countries attending and more than 20 of them represented by heads of state. And so you're going to 100% tariff what? India, Brazil, and all these other countries. I mean, you know, and again, there are already sanctions on Russia. So what are you even referring to here? You know, I think it's important to also reflect, though, on the response of world leaders to these threats. I think the person who's handled it best so far is Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico. I mean, she's stood strong behind the sovereignty of Mexico. You know, she said, look, we're going to work cooperatively. America's our biggest trading partner. We're America's biggest trading partner. But don't abuse us here. You know, don't put tariffs on us. We'll retaliate against you. We'll be strong if you're going to start putting tariffs on us, and we'll start hurting American companies if you're going to come in and try to attack our country. Then when Donald Trump tried to act like they had this great phone call together and she agreed to shut down the border, she responded and she goes, "We reiterate Mexico's position is not to close the borders, but to build bridges between governments and between people." You know, Trudeau handled it, I think, very strangely. First, he seemed to come out strong, but then he flew to Mar-a-Lago. Then he posted this photo of himself with Donald Trump. He said, "Thanks for dinner last night, President Trump. I look forward to the work that we can do together again." Just such an odd picture. And this is what Donald Trump said about his meeting with Prime Minister Trudeau. He goes, "I just had a very productive meeting with Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada, where we discussed many important topics that will require both countries to work together to address, like the fentanyl and drug crisis that has decimated so many lives as a result of illegal immigration, fair trade deals that do not jeopardize American workers, and the massive trade deficit the U.S. has with Canada." So again, he's basically attacking Canada there again. "I made it very clear that the United States will no longer sit idly by as citizens become victims to the scourge of this drug epidemic caused mainly by the drug cartels and fentanyl pouring in from China." And again, the 99% of consumers of synthetic drugs in America are Americans. And most of the people who distribute them in America are American, as Mexico pointed out. And he also seems to be blaming Canada for being responsible for this as well, and being responsible for trade deficits with the United States. And then Donald Trump was the person who blocked the bipartisan border deal, which would have actually helped bolster enforcement of the border to try to stop fentanyl from flowing in. But that's not mentioned here. Donald Trump writes, "Prime Minister Trudeau has made a commitment to work with us to end this terrible devastation of U.S. families." And that commitment has always been there. It's not just by posting it on a social media post. That has been there. Prime Minister Trudeau has done that before. We also spoke about many other important topics like energy, trade, and the Arctic. All are vital issues that I will be addressing in my first days back. This is Jagmeet Singh. He's the leader of the NDR, the NDP in Canada. And here is Jagmeet Singh talking about Donald Trump's threats. He says, "Trump's threats are an attempt at economic bullying. I've dealt with bullies my whole life, and the way to deal with them is to show strength." Here's NDP leader Jagmeet Singh play it.
What Trump is proposing is economic bullying. I've dealt with bullies. The only thing that bullies respect is strength. So let's show them that we are strong and ready to fight. Trudeau has shown weakness so far by not taking this seriously, by not having a plan in place, by not calling a jobs war room, by not taking the threat for the seriousness that it deserves. It's already impacted Canadians, and we've got to take it seriously.
And here is Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum discussing Mexicans' plan that they would retaliate if Trump imposed tariffs on them. Play this clip.
A un arancel vendrá otro en respuesta, y así hasta que pongamos en riesgo empresas comunes. Sí, comunes. Por ejemplo, de los principales exportadores de México a Estados Unidos son General Motors, Stellantis y Ford Motor Company, las cuales llegaron a México hace 80 años. ¿Por qué ponerle un impuesto que las ponga en riesgo? No es aceptable y causaría a Estados Unidos y a México inflación y pérdidas de empleo. Creo que nos vamos a poner de acuerdo. Yo tengo la visión de que va a haber un acuerdo con Estados Unidos y con el presidente Trump. Pero si ponemos en el centro la coordinación, la colaboración para poder atender de manera profunda el fenómeno migratorio, el problema de la crisis humanitaria que tienen en Estados Unidos por el consumo de fentanilo, pues entonces se va a atender de manera integral. Por eso digo, además de la carta, vamos a buscar una llamada para que nos sentemos lo más pronto posible.
You know, so on the one hand, Donald Trump is currying favor with Putin and doing everything to help Putin. But then on the other hand, he's saying that he's going to 100% tariff BRICS. And given that we already don't import anything from Russia, he's talking about India and he's talking about Brazil, which is just going to move them closer to Russia if you 100% tariff them. Again, he doesn't know what he's talking about here. Anyway, hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.